Welcome to Megapath Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk about new images. I just thought of what I want to title this. PIC TEASE, get it? Alright, yeah, that's stupid. Anyway, I'm going to do it anyway. We got new images for The Walking Dead Season 9. I'm just going to dive right into this. We have Father Gabriel with his hat, his weird little hat, and his bum eye now because of what happened in the previous season. And I do want to point out this is most likely while Rick is still alive, because we have seen images with him clean shaven and Rick is in those images. And then later on we see what is suspected to be a second time skip. I don't know if that's been confirmed at this point, but it appears there's some sort of additional time skip. And then we see Father Gabriel, who looks a little more aged, primarily with his goatee. It's like a gray goatee, but just a close-up shot of Father Gabriel. And then we have the eye-catching, stunning, beautiful Michonne. I love this picture. This is fantastic. I don't know if this doesn't even look like it's from an episode. This looks like it's from a photo shoot or a promo image that was done, and it's supposed to be bigger, but they just cropped it to give us this for now. So I'm not really sure. I think this is more like a photo shoot image. It really doesn't matter. It's an up-close image. There's not much we can pull from it. I was looking for that strand of Carl's shirt. I don't know if... Let's see. I don't know if they're talking about... We only see a little tiny piece. And I mean, come on. We could say, oh, that's it. But I thought maybe it would be something like, you know how Ezekiel has like feathers and stuff like that, and I think he has something even hanging like a piece of cloth, or at least in the comic. I was thinking it was gonna run down here like how these seashells are. Anyway, I don't know, so can't really see it. If I'm not seeing it and you guys can see it, point that out for me. But for those who don't know, she has a piece of Carl's shirt, and that is to keep his memory close. Next up, we got Rosita. Rosita is spray painting a sign. What does this say? Welcome to something county. I don't know what county that is, but that's around the area. I don't think I've seen her yet in a promo image with this jacket going on, but this could be like one scene in the beginning where she pops a jacket on. And I do believe we've seen images with her in this haircut. As a matter of fact, when her and Eugene jumped down the muddy hill, I think she has this hairstyle on. So this might actually be her and Eugene. Yeah, you know what? I'm running with this. I like this. In the comic, we know the two characters that run into these new characters, the Whisperers, they were going past their boundaries. So if she's spray painting something on this sign, we can guess what the boobs mean in a second. But her and Eugene at this time are possibly exploring outside of their boundaries. They're expanding their territory, their reach, their roads, their patrol roads, and scavenging. And this is how they leave signs for the other groups that follow. Like her and Eugene, they'll scout this, they'll spray paint, like this is good for this is clear, this is yada yada yada. And that way when additional groups come in to help, prepare the roads or whatever they're doing, I'm just speculating off the top of my head. But as they are doing this, as part of their job within the community now, they run into something. Eugene gets hurt, and then this walker herd comes for them. They can't lose it. For some reason, it's like something's leading them directly to them, and they decide to hide down a ditch and get away from them. And they lose, the walker herd. You guys can pretty much pick out of that from what I'm saying. You get the point. They ditch the walkers. I'm trying to be evasive because the walkers aren't really just walkers. They're kind of being led, Anyhow, yeah, I think in those, I know they're not boobs. That's a B. So I don't know what she's trying to write. Boundary, back, bad, badass, booty. I don't know. So it's probably something simple. It's probably something we already know. They probably got sick of writing A on everything, so now we're going to B. So from here to season 17, it's going to be the mystery of the letter B. Anyhow, we have the group inside what is the museum, I believe, and I think they're only here for a scavenging mission, or maybe scavenging / recon. And I'm trying to look to see if there's anything in the image that would hint anything. Yeah, here's Father Gabriel with his hat. I don't really know. Oh, that's Anne behind Maggie. And then we got Carol and Ezekiel. And I'm going to skim through this one because it connects to these images coming up. This is clearly where they get the carriage, which is a cool image. I like this. I like this idea too. And I really don't know if the museum would be the best place for something like this. I mean, how well do they restore these things? I would imagine, right? I mean, it can function and you can fix whatever's weak. I just figured they would have like an old and they would tack it, you know what I mean? Because you don't want to restore it too much and then it's not authentic or it loses some of its authenticity. Anyhow, so this is clearly where they're getting some new materials from the old world, what used to be the old world before the zombie virus hit. And they're actually reusing this. So it's funny. It's a very awesome image and it's a very awesome idea if you think about how the modern world put this old world device on display, and when the world falls, they go back into the museum and they take this old world cart and they bring it back out to actually start using it again. I love that. I love that so much. And then we know it's spoiled that they succeed. I think one of the first images ever of season 9 showed this. Yeah, as a matter of fact, with Michonne, and in the background they showed this. So it's a spoiler. They successfully got this out. And I think even in the episode or the trailer, it shows them struggling with walkers there and stuff. So they might make that seem like a tension-filled scene. But spoiler alert, they get the cart, the chariot here. Anyhow, not much we can pull from this. Daryl is just chilling on the side of the road and they're taking a break. Coming up, we have Rick. If you'll notice, he's actually absent from a lot of these images here, which it's not surprising knowing what we know now. But we got Father Gabriel and Anne. We got Rick and Michonne, and then Tara and Sadiq and Maggie. I'm trying to look. I can't really see anybody else through there. I think that's King Ezekiel down in there. And obviously, they're just traveling back from getting the carriage, I would imagine. Next up, we got Burn shippers. I'm teasing. We got Carol with King Ezekiel, and this could be set up for something interesting that is going to continue, or this is set up for Carol to suffer another great tragic loss in her life. Ezekiel's still on the table. I'm kind of hoping they keep him alive for season 9. I'm kind of hoping they remix the comic version of King Ezekiel. We're already losing Maggie and Rick. I'm kind of hoping they keep him on. That's where my hope is. But we got Jerry in the background, and he's a part of why I don't think they're going to keep him on. I'm kind of getting this feeling. You can already tell by the way the fans are reacting and how much they love Jerry. If the new Whisperers, the new villains, showed up and Jerry fell victim to them, that would cause like a great emotional, outburst for the fan base. It would be an open wound, I feel like, for at least a bunch of us. A lot of people like Jerry. To kill them both, it might be overkill knowing that we're already losing Rick and Michonne. I'm sorry, Maggie. And if I could pick, something says I'm like 80% Jerry. If I had to pick Ezekiel, I'm like 75% maybe he'll die. And then I'm kind of like 50-50 on will they kill them both to introduce the Whispers. Because remember, in the comic, they had primarily two real big characters. They killed Olivia. I mean, that's over with. Olivia's been dead since season 7. So I think Olivia would have been the third biggest in the lineup because the other ones were relatively new. Unless I'm forgetting anybody. So it looks like they're leaving the sanctuary, right? Something like that. And then we have inside the sanctuary, we have a savior looking like a tryhard. We got Eugene, who's actually looking a little different here. He doesn't seem to be slouching and looking, I don't know. He kind of looks a little bit like a leader, right? And I didn't really picture Eugene leading the sanctuary, but in this image alone, I don't know. Gun on the hip, clipboard. He's not like, I don't know, something about his appearance here. Maybe he even got thinner. No? I don't know. Something's up here. He just a different screen presence, and it seems a little more confident, like he is in that leadership position now, which I don't know how that would work because the Saviors and, the past and the history, obviously Rick would want to trust whoever is leading them, and I feel like he can trust obviously Eugene now after being put in a situation he was in and then showing them that at the end of the day he's there for them. And then we got Carol and Ezekiel, we got Rick and some more Saviors. I don't think those are survivors. And from the trailer we can probably speculate that this is just Rick checking up on the sanctuary and letting them know that they're not done helping them, grow and build and rebuild. So I think that's all there is there. Plus, obviously in the trailer, we saw signs of we're still Negan, the Savior save us. So it's two birds with one stone. They're going to go there checking up on the sanctuary, but it's also revealing that there's some conflict maybe starting to boil over. So I think that's just what those scenes are going to give us. And then at the hilltop, we have Daryl, Michonne, and then Rick. And I'm trying to look in the background to see if there's anything sticking out that would hint anything, but I really don't see nothing. Rick has, what, is that Carl's gun? He's got his hatchet, he's got his Colt 45, he's got his cool little haircut now. And Michonne, and I'm assuming the gray shirt is close to when he dies because that was in the trailer with this, I'm sorry, the tan shirt. And the blue shirt, it looks like when they're doing all the wood and building and all that crap, the blue shirt looks like it's earlier on. I could have that mixed up, but this is pretty much them. The only one that stands out is Michonne. She looks like she's saying, "What, bitch, are you crazy?" Rick even kind of looks like, "Whoa, hold on." And that might be Maggie saying something. And that might even lead to the Maggie and Rick conversation later on by themselves. So Maggie could say something, especially towards how well they're building now. It's been said the hilltop is the primary source of food for all the communities, and they do trade and shit like this. So, and we saw lumber. They were cutting down the trees, and in the comic, I do believe it was the Kingdom, if I'm not mistaken, or the Sanctuary, who were dealing with the lumber. So one community primarily dealt with food, another community had a ton of lumber, and they would trade the lumber for the food and weapons and yada yada yada. All the different, I think the Oceanside dealt with fish and shit like that, you know what I mean? So they would all trade and help build at the same time, but they kept that barter system. And this might be just an argument with that. And then finally, a newer image. I don't think we've seen Maggie in this shirt yet, so this might be closer to the mid-season finale. And this reminds me of season 8, I think it was 8, where they were bringing, in the trailer, we saw Maggie standing here with the Hilltop people behind her. And in the trailer, I was like, man, that looks like they're bringing in the Saviors. And we were dead on point with that prediction, man. They captured Saviors, that was all in the trailer, and then they brought them back to the Hilltop. I mean, all of that was dead on accurate as shit. And this looks just like that scene. And it's at nighttime. She means business, it looks like. So normally I would jump to the conclusion that this is right around where she deals with Gregory. But I feel like that has to come early on because we saw it in the trailer. So he most likely has been dealt with at this point. And I think whatever's going on here, this might lead to where she disappears at. They're hinting heavily and straight up telling us. I hope they're not lying to us. But Maggie's story will be open-ended until they can deal with her contract and maybe get her back. It's annoying, it's frustrating, but I don't know what they're going to do as far as bringing it. I'm at a complete loss with what they'll do with Maggie as far as taking her out of the story and then bringing her back. It just doesn't make any damn sense. You got her kid. How are you going to justify her walking away, leaving her kid? Is the Charlie and them going to show back up and say, hey, Maggie, you need to come with us, and we're going to show you the new group. You know, you could trust us because I gave you the key to the future. And then Maggie's going to leave with them, you know what I mean? And then be gone for, an unknown period of time and then show back up. At this point, I do believe The Walking Dead and AMC will make a deal with Lauren Cohan and bring her back. They'll probably test the waters and see if, her departure is going to be that big of a sting with Rick and with Rick already leaving. And if it's not that bad of a sting, they might not bring her back. But if it does seem like the the show would help, or it would benefit the show to bring her back on, then they might just bring her back in some cool, neat way in season 10 or something. Because I don't believe she's coming back in this season at all. But like I said, I have no clue with how they're going to handle Maggie's story. So much so, it's not even fun to predict. It's just frustrating because it just feels forced. And it is, because they had a dispute about the contract, and then she's all of a sudden not coming back. It wasn't like the story organically went this direction and they said, oh my God, this would be so great for the story. No, there's behind the scenes stuff. So I think that's why it's a little difficult to predict. I know people get on The Walking Dead and predictions and yada, 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 a lot of shows, because if the show is clearly heading in a certain direction, there's almost only one type of outcome. You know what I mean? You might be way off on how that plays out. Like the good guys winning. There's no way season 8 is going to end and the saviors are going to win. It doesn't matter if there's a comic book that they're following. There's no way you're going to do that. That doesn't make any sense, you know? So it's going to end one way. Almost always. Unless it is a complete series finale or it's the end of a movie and there's other crazy shit they're pulling out. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm dying to know, if anything, I want to know your thoughts and predictions about Maggie. What do you guys... And don't cop out and say the helicopter, because that's an easy one. Hell, I took an easy road and said it was going to be Georgie. But I feel like it's either one or the other, right? She's got to go thinking she's only going to be gone for a few days or a few weeks, right? Because she's not going to leave her kid, especially in these times. She's not going to bounce and leave her kid. I don't think she's going to bring her kid. I don't know. That just wouldn't make any sense. Thoughts and opinions about this down in that comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn.